So before we went to the break, we were talking about the MOM. Now, next part of this course is the Requirement Traceability Matrix. This one is also very important for BA. As we have studied before, RTM is very important. Why? Because this gives you the reference point of the requirements. Like what is the requirement? What is the source of the requirement? And what different elements in software requirement documentation this is going to be affecting. And you have the record for all those things, and you always review this either backward or forward. So this is very important. We have discussed this before as well, but let us go ahead and start from the scratch. So what is RTM? A requirement traceability matrix is a document that links project requirements to their related design, development, testing, and implementation activities in SRS. SR is software requirement specification documents. We will discuss this in other classes. So the one document that you have created, you call it as a RTM, which will be like pure Excel document for you. And one document you have created, which is like a detailed technical explanation of all the requirements that you have captured, and that will be used by your development team, who will actually writing codes and developing the software. So there are two different documents, and these two documents are interlinked with each other. If you are into your Excel, and if you see one of the requirements, you can easily be able to go back to the SRS, that particular section specifically, and see what is the change you are making there with respect to design, development, testing, or anything there. This will be easy for you. If you do not know, let me tell you, SRS is like a big document. It's a Bible. It may be like 500 pages or 1,000 pages document. It might be like 20 pages as well. That depends upon the size of the requirement. So you will not have that much time to go to the SRS and like read 200 pages to find what exactly you need. So how would you make sure you don't waste your time, kill your time, and you get what you know in no time? So you need to have some reference points. So these two reference points will be written in your RTM, in your Excel document, and in your SRS, so that you can easily connect and find those points, link those points, and you can go ahead. So this is very important document. Now RTM, it serves the purpose of providing clear and concise way of tracking things from each of these documents, as I told you. So that there has to be very clearly mentioned reference points or links so that you can easily come, find these reference points either from your RTM to SRS or from SRS to RTM. Situation could be anything. You might be reviewing something in your RTM, in your Excel, and you may want to see something, the reference point in your SRS. So you should be easily reaching to that point and see what is written there. Or just in case, if you're reviewing your software requirement documentation, any particular section with any of your team members, and you need to know what was the source of this requirement and what we actually did. So you can simply jump from that point to your RTM, and you can see what is the requirement and what was the source. So that linking should be really easy. So that is the ultimate purpose for you, to make it really concise and easy way to track things. An RTM typically includes a table that lists each requirement and its association, design, development, testing, and implementation activities. It means in your RTM, in your Excel, this will be like a tabular format data. You will have the RTM number, you will have the requirement descriptions, you will have the requirement number, and you also wanted to write what is the source of the requirement, and probably you will write, okay, is this going to impact the database change? Is this going to impact the graphical user interface change? Is this going to impact any other changes? You may want to write all those things in your Excel in a tabular format, and you would like to assign or associate those changes in your requirement specification documentation. Let's say you have a design change. So in the design section of that document, you will go and link these 2 points, so that when somebody is looking at the design change, the person would like to understand what was the source. The person can quickly pick your reference number, come to your RTM, and see what was the source. Same goes to development changes, testing changes, or anything, any other changes. So this is the ultimate kind of a purpose of your this document, the RTM. It also provides you traceability links. Yes, obviously you may have links, as in it's not a URL. It's like not interconnected unless you have some software within your org that you're like doing on intranet and like linking with some links. You link, when I'm referring, is the numbers. Let's say I have requirement ID 101, say an example. So that 101 may have some of the requirement details, and that 101 I will go ahead in the SRS, and that particular section, the required section, I'll mention RTM ID 101 with that SRS ID. So SRS ID could be SR101. So SR101 has some impacts, on your design, on your code, on your test, or on your user manuals, anything. So how did this requirement come? So if I'm at the SRS SR101, and if I'd like to understand how this requirement has come up, I can simply pick that number, or RTM, or probably 101, can go to the RTM and see the details. Now, how does it look like? In the next slides, I will show you. I also have sample for this RTM that if you want, you can use it, or you can create your own. So that will make more clear to you. Here, what I'm trying to discuss here is, it's all about connecting and finding the reference points in these two documents. That's all. This will work as a communication and collaborations point for you. If you know what is the source of the requirement, if you know where and what different section this has made impact to the SRS document or your functionality, if someone is asking you, probably your managers, your business, or anyone, this will be really easy for you to facilitate that communication, because you know all those reference points, right? So you can simply go and pick information and you can tell them. You don't have to recall, memorize, and guess things, assume things, and answer. So these are some of the main points, key points, why RTM is very important and why BA is highly recommended to create one RTM for yourself. Now, you may ask me one question: is it really needed for me to create RTM when I have like one simple chain, one-liner chain that I can do in like a day or two? The answer is no, you don't need to. You would only try to make this RTM if you have like a lot of changes are coming and there's a lot of things that you have to track here and there. Then you would want to create those RTM, not for like simple one-liner changes and one text changes, or maybe something that can be handled very quickly. That will be like additional effort, and you don't want to put additional effort for those small changes. You don't want to do that. In case of a bigger, larger project, you can use it. So having said, not all the projects you will be writing RTM. Probably you may not write RTM in throughout your career. This is true. Or you may see yourself writing one of these documents. So you have to understand the concept and the way how do you write good RTM, so that if you come across a situation, you know what is this, and you should be in a situation to start writing those things easily without any problems and hesitations. So we have already discussed this as well. There are two types of RTM. One is the forward traceability and one is the backward traceability matrix. We have already discussed what is forward and what is backward, but let me help you recall and connect the dots. Forward, as in you're going from your RTM, your requirement traceability Excel matrix, to your requirement specification documents, SRS. That is called the forward traceability. I found one number in my Excel, and from Excel, I'm picking that link or number, going to the SRS, to the particular section, and looking at the information. That I call it a forward traceability. Backward is the other way around. You are in your SRS, in any of the sections, maybe a design section or development section or coding section or testing section, whatever, or a functional requirement section. I'm just taking the generic names. You may not see development, testing, and implementation sections in your SRS. I'm just taking a generic example. Any of the sections you are in your SRS, the main point is you are coming from SRS to your RTM. It's called a backward traceability matrix. So in SRS, you have one ID number written. You pick that link, coming back to your RTM and going to that section and finding that link and reviewing the information. That what we call it the backward traceability. So forward from RTM to SRS and backward from SRS to RTM. And you can find anything, any links, any information for yourself, for your team, or for your business. That is what it is called, forward and backward traceability. So this is a simplest way for you to understand. Now, if you read these terms, These might be a little complicated and confusing to you, but what I'm trying to make a point here is you have something to find in SRS and you got that reference in your RTM, and you're coming from RTM to your SRS, it's a forward traceability. And vice versa, if you're coming from your SRS to your RTM, it's called a backward traceability. And what are you going to find? Anything, whatever is required at that point in time for you. Clear? Any questions, any doubts on this one?
We use requirement traceability matrix only for SRS or both BRD or in SRS?
Traceability matrix is used throughout the project, but basically this is a reference point for the development and for the BA and for the business. So people prefer writing it into SRS, but there's no hard and fast rules. If that makes your job easy, that you would also like to have some connecting points in your BRD, go ahead and use it. Completely fine. In your traceability matrix, you can write those references as well. Let's say I have 1 page of a traceability matrix. I have 10 IDs. 7 could be routing me to SRS and 3 could be routing me to BRD. That's completely fine. It's like just a reference point. It doesn't matter what document are you using for. And as I said in day 1 in our training, RTM is like daily working sheet for the BA. You don't need to upload this to your business. You don't need to give it to your management unless there's a company requirement that all RTMs must be shared with the development team or must be uploaded to any of the tools. You are free to keep it with you as your personal document. This is for you. And what is the life cycle of this RTM? The moment you start the project, it starts. The moment you get the sign up from the business after deployment or delivery of the project, this is done. You don't need this RTM. But as I said, this can be used anytime in future as well. Any other project team members going ahead looking at your project details and would like to see what was the reference, probably that point in time, that person might need your RTM to understand. So it is advisable that you also upload and make it public to your internal teams, not to business. Business has to do nothing with your RTM. Business might be asking you some questions, and you would need to use this RTM to find the reference point. That's all. Business doesn't need this RTM, so you don't need to share with business. So answer is yes, you can write whatever it makes your life easy and it makes you be more productive on the requirement gathering processes and taking it forward. Any other question?
During the requirement gathering, we create BRD, right? So with when we create BRD, right, at the same time we have to create requirement traceability matrix?
Yes, this will be starting from day 1. The moment you start writing the requirements, you would want to start writing this RTM, because this is giving you the reference point of the requirement. So it is advisable for you to start from day 1, of the requirement. And you will use this, revise this throughout your project lifecycle. It's not like one-time activity. It's like throughout the project cycle lifecycle activity. In every phases of the project lifecycle or software development lifecycle, you might be using this RTM. Add something, remove something, modify something. So answer is yes. All right, so let's move to the next slide. What are different benefits of using RTM? We have already discussed a lot of them, but let us see in little more detail. This will be like an improved traceability of the requirements. What does it mean? Improved traceability as in we have the reference points and we have the clear and concise understanding of the requirement sources, details, and we know what sections of the BRD this will be impacting. If we have collected all those information and documented, the traceability will be really easy for you. Now, this traceability is like a generic English word. You're tracing something, tracking, linking something. So that will be improved. Obviously, if I know the sources, if I have documented them very clearly, this will improve that traceability for me. So this is a help. If you do not have these things written, probably this will be really tough for you to find out all those key points, connect the dots, and give the accurate answers. This might not be possible for you. So always advisable to write these documents. And once you have all these things written clearly, well understood, well agreed, everyone knows, your planning and execution will be really easy for you. You will be in a good situation when you're planning the stuffs and controlling and monitoring during the execution, because you know all those reference points. You have linked them very effectively from backward, forward, everywhere. So when you do your planning and when you're executing things and you have to control something, and this will be easy for you. So an example, there's something you notice is not going in a correct way during the execution, and you would like to control things. You're monitoring, now you would like to control things. You can use these documents as a reference point so that you can win everyone's confidence. People will not see it as pushing or forcing to them. This will be like a contract, and you can use that reference point, you can review with the team, and you can take it forward as everyone's agreement. So this is very important for you as well, because this is serving you like a contract, like a reference point for you. This is very important. And obviously, this will enhance the communications and collaborations. Someone is asking you something from the development side, from the tester side, or maybe from the business side, and you have everything written already. You don't have to worry about that. You can simply go ahead, pick the information, form the sentences, and inform the team. So this will be like, this will enhance your communication and collaboration with all those teams. If you don't have these things written, just imagine, you may not be recalling or remembering everything. You're just a human being. You're not a supercomputer. People are asking something and you don't have any reference point. This will be really tough for you to make sense in your responses. People might oppose you, people might go against you, people might give some different reasonings, and you will not be able to justify all those things. So better you have those reference points written, documented. This will be easy for you. And this will also improve your quality and reliability. Obviously, the quality of the work will be really good because we know the sources, we know the reasons behind that, we know what different section this is going to be impacting, right? So whatever we are fulfilling as in we are delivering, we are completing those things, we will be clearly knowing what is the source, what is the customer expectation from the requirement. We know everything. So the quality will be definitely improved, and customer will more rely on those software or on those products. So one document can be used for different things, and these are the examples. In some of the companies, you have a compliance and auditability options as well, the teams as well, where they have to do all those things. So this our team can provide you as one of the reference points as well. In some of the audits, probably there's a question raised to your team or to your documentation. There's some compliance or regulatory or maybe quality assurance is going on. So you will have the responses ready for you. You can go ahead and track those things in your R team, and you can provide those information to those audit team so that you are at safe zone, at safe point. You don't have to worry about those non-compliant things. So this is very important for everyone to have these things written clearly and documented properly. Here's a sample. Very clear and easy sample. Traceability matrix you can write on your own. You can have like n number of columns. For me, I prefer writing the requirement ID. And what is this requirement ID? I can create on my own. Or if there's a company rule that you have to use this sequence of the numbers, say an example, your project name is, let's say, anything, like give any name, US, your project name is US, right? So your company might be asking you to use any requirement that starts that prefix with US. You will write US and then probably your tool name. Let's say your tool name is Amazon, say an example. So your company might be asking to use the numbers like this way, US AM01, so that everyone knows, okay, US as in this was done in the US, and this is for Amazon project. So US AM01, US AM02. So an example, you can have additional numbers added. Probably within Amazon, we have specific project, and that project has a specific name. So you will start with US AM and then initials of that project and then the number. So you don't have to worry about this numbering things. Your company might be providing you very clear and concise direction to use. If there's none, you can use whatever you want. It's just about creating some reference points so that you can use it in the future. Now, what is important with these numbers? This has to be unique. You cannot repeat these numbers. Example, if I have the same number for 5 different requirements, and those 5 different requirements are impacting 500 different sections in my SRS, if I'm going to use the same number at 500 different places, just imagine what will happen. You will not be able to find the exact answer because the same number is tagged to 500 different places. So this will give you all 500 details. Now you go ahead and read 500 sections and figure out what is you need. So this will be a mess for you. So you should always try to create these numbers unique. Don't repeat these numbers, just a unique number. One ID for one requirement for one reference, so that this will be easy for you. Second column, it has a requirement description. You will write like 1-2 liners description of the requirement. What is the ask? So here the ask is we have to create a new employee annual bonus table. That's one requirement. We would like to maintain an additional table where we would like to go ahead and add the employee's annual bonus that they will be given at the end of the year. So the business is asking to create a separate table. So I just written simple description. You might want to write like little more so that this is easy for everyone, but you don't want to write Bible here. Don't want to write like 500 pages or like 500 lines just to describe something, because ultimately this will be your redundant and duplicate work. The same thing you will be writing your business requirement document as well. So you don't need to write in really super detail, something that everyone can understand. That's all. And then what is the source of the requirement? So I've written business head. I got this requirement from business head. Now you would like to specify a little more. So you can write the names, department, the time when you discussed that particular scenario that you got this requirement. Perfectly fine. So that in future, let's say after a couple of years, if I go ahead and see this traceability matrix and see the source is business head, I may not be able to recall what does it mean by business head. So probably I would want to write something more that I can easily understand. So this template is just for the reference, and I'm also giving you the justifications behind why you should not write this and why you should not write this. So try to write reasonable things that this will be easy for you and for anyone who's looking at your report to understand things easily and connect things easily. No, they should not have to guess things. Now, the next columns I have written like design development activities. So what I'm trying to say here is in the SRS, or just forget about the SRS, this change will be impacting the design or some development activities. Now, what designs? Requirement 1, there will be change in the schema, database schema. Now, what is database schema? If you don't know, just forget about that. Leave it here. So there will be change in database schema. So I've written here. Now, how would you know where this change is going to be? Obviously, you are the BA, you are talking with business, and then again, you're going to your development team and talking to them. So development team will let you know what is the change this is all about, and you will start modifying, writing things. Initially, you will write based on your understanding, and then you will modify that based on your discussion with the different teams, your development team or whoever you're talking, and getting more ideas and more detailed insights about those requirements. You will keep updating these tables. And I'm also writing, okay, this change will also impact on the testing activities. So we will have to create test data something. I'm writing here. This will have impact on the implementation activities. We have to install to the new this change to the server. Obviously, if I'm making any changes, I will have to do testings and I'll have to deliver things. When I'm delivering in IT world, we install, we do deployments, installation to the server. So that is also this impact. Now, you may not write these columns at all. It's up to you. And it is depending upon the requirement. I have written this as a generic example. You may not write these 3 columns. You may write something else. Completely depends upon your understanding and how you can make it really easy to connect, find the dots, and get the references. That's all. It's up to you. You can use whatever format you like. You may want to add some more columns. You may want to remove the columns. Completely fine. Go ahead and do it. It's up to you. Or in some of the organizations, they have their format written already that you have to use that as per the company rules and regulations. That's perfectly fine. Go and use their templates. Move to the next column, traceability links. These are the IDs that I will be creating in SRS or the BRD, right? So in SRS, there's a section I'm writing this D01. So this D01 is a section where I have detailed this create new employee annual bonus table requirements. And I've given that number as a D01. So with this D01, I have REQ001. So I know when I'm looking at D01 or T01 or I01, all these 3 sections will have only one requirement ID, which is REQ001. So even I am at D01 section or T01 section or I01 section, I will have the same one number REQ001. And I can come back to this Excel, to our team, and I can see the number, okay, this I01, T01, or D01 talks about creating new employee annual bonus table. And now this is the requirement. Now, what was the source of the requirement? Okay, this came from the business head. And these were the different sections it has impact on, right? So D01 is a development. So probably development guys will only see D01. T01 is something talking about the testing. So the testing folks will be looking at T01. They may not be able to know if there's any I01 impact as well. They may not know. But when they come to this Excel, RTM, they will also know, okay, this is not only us. This has also impacted the development and any other XYZ teams, which is I01. Got it? So this is how you write things so that it becomes really easy for you. So now let us, in our example, in the case of forward traceability, I am here right now in this Excel and I'm looking at REQ001. From here, I have to go to my SRS. So what are different sections I can go to the SRS is D01, T01, I01. So I'll go to the SRS, directly jump to these three sections, and I can see the details. What technically things has happened there. Now, example of backward traceability, I'm in the SRS and I'm at D01, and I would like to see what is the source of the requirement. So I would see, okay, D01 is linked with REQ001. I'll go back to REQ001, and I can see all those details. So having said, like in RTM, we are writing the trace links. Similarly, in the SRS, we will also write these requirement IDs, the RTM requirement IDs. Correct? So this REQ001, you can also start writing RTM001, RTM002. Is completely up to you. How do you make things simple for everyone? And you can name those things, write those things in that way. Questions?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Cool. Okay, so I have a question for you. What is the purpose of a requirement traceability matrix, RTM? Read the options and give me one right answer.
C.
Any other answer?
It's B, to track changes to the
It's B.
composite risks.
C and B. Okay, let's see what is the answer. The answer is C, to ensure that all project requirements are fulfilled. Fulfilled as in, what is the ultimate purpose of the requirement? Whatever requirement we're capturing, that has to be delivered or completed. And those tracking things, looking at those details are the supporting things of fulfilling the requirement. The ultimate goal is to deliver things. And to successful delivery, we would like to have some the trace points. So this is the answer. It's actually a tricky question, but don't worry. The ultimate goal is to fulfilling. I got some requirement. What should be the ultimate response of responsibility of the requirement? We have to deliver things. See, in order to deliver, we'll do a lot of things. And these tracking things backward, forward, documenting, source, these all are supporting part of those fulfilling of the requirement. The ultimate goal is we have to make sure all project requirements are delivered. Thank you very much, all of you, for your time.